this, I thought, okay, this will be pretty easy. I have a database with 900 active campers right now, and I thought, okay, I'll just pick one. And as time went on, it got a little bit harder to make my decision on who I wanted to talk about. And it was really, really challenging because, and I think actually Jill finally helped me kind of get to the bottom of it, because it's not really about the big stories, and there's a lot of big stories and great things that we've done over the years in camp, but it's really about all those little individual things that we do on an ongoing basis. And you know, this past summer I was trying to think, okay, who did we make a difference for this past summer? And it could be a couple of obvious choices, or it could be a camper that you wouldn't even necessarily think that we made that big of a difference for. It could be a camper, Joanne, whose foster father had an operation and a surgery while she was at camp, so it was important for her to be here so that she wasn't around all of the stress of that happening in her house, and her foster mom had a chance for the recovery to take place while she was here. And I bet a lot of people didn't even know that that had happened, but this year it was important for her. Last year, it could have been Gigi Felice, who'd been coming to camp for 30 years and had always been kind of like a star when she was here, and a really cool camper, and she had a really, really hard time last year. She has Alzheimer's, and we're probably not going to see her at camp anymore, but she came and she had a walker, and we had a hard time getting her out of the cabin, and it was really sad to see. But when we sat down and talked about it and thought, well, maybe we should send her home, and we went and we talked to the counselors, and they said, no, you can't send her home. She has to stay. She needs to be here. So it was really cool to see how the staff could get behind that camper and make her last day at camp really memorable and really good for her as well. I bet a lot of you know who Erin Asselin is. And if you've ever been near the dining hall, you would know the words, "How was your lunch, guys?" And there's Erin. And sometimes when we see him coming towards us at the table, we all look down and think, please don't be talking to me, because you know that he might say something that's kind of gonna get your hair standing on end sometimes. But when you step back and take a look at it, you wouldn't necessarily think this program was that important to him, but when you look at the fact that the day program, where he goes to work every day, wants to force him to wear a helmet because he might fall. And that's just something that would never cross our minds here. And that this is a place where he can go and really enjoy himself and really thrive in the program. And everybody knows him. It's important that we're not like those other programs for him, and that he has this place to come to.
When I joined Horizons, I made the unfair and very inaccurate assumption that the client relationships would be fairly one-sided, with us mostly on the giving side. But from my first day on the job, I quickly learned how untrue that was. I've only been a job coach since October, so I'm very new at this. I started at Eastern, where I heard a lot about a client named Fred. His lively imagination, his booming voice, and his love of classic rock music. I admit, I was a bit intimidated by Fred at first, but I quickly learned how very generous, loyal, and caring a man he is. Whether it be a candy bar or a breakfast sandwich that he picked up on his walk to work, Fred shares what little he has with those around him. Fred also jumps to the defense of others, offering to beat the crap. And Fred also displays remarkable compassion, like praying to God to forgive and help his aunt, with whom he has had a very volatile relationship. And so, without realizing it, Fred has taught me never to make assumptions about the give and take balance of a relationship, and that sometimes the most meaningful gifts and life lessons come from unexpected sources. Thanks, Fred.
Margot was just starting out, living on her own with a roommate, and learning to share the space and expenses for the roommate. So it was a challenge to, she was having difficulties paying her bills on a timely basis, and there was definitely no money for extras. So with Melissa's help, she had come in to sit with me so I could help her balance her checkbook. I got her to have her checks being direct deposited into her account, so money stayed in the bank. And then also to make sure that she was getting her charges from Walmart, if she was using her debit card, to make sure they were put in the book. Also, they just recently added a roommate, so that helped with the financial burden, and she was able to save some money for the extras that she was dreaming to do. She just went to New York for a weekend. So it's been a positive experience for myself, being able to teach Margot the skills to be able to do this on her own, to balance her book. And we've also developed a friendship. She's a friend on my Facebook, so we talk about other things besides money.